Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Glad all of you could be with us on this overcast day. As you guys may or may not know, Florida is being hit with some more bad weather. Tropical storm Nicole. And we should be feeling the blunt of it either later on this evening or possibly tomorrow. So I'm not looking forward. Just because they say that the hurricane season ends in November, usually around the 1st of November or so, don't believe that because Mother Nature has a mind of her own. That's what I say. So, anyway, alongside Jan from New York City Saves Money, my colleague is with me today, and we're going to talk about, um, expenses that can be controlled, you know, if we can, put our mind to it and put our mindset and tune in. And it's really not that hard to do. So Jan, if did you have anything?
Sure. Hi, Steve. How's
Hi,
everybody
Jan.
doing out there? Hey, Steve, it's good to see
Not
you and
bad.
everybody. You know
You too.
something? Sorry to hear about the weather, first of all. Gee,
Yeah, well,
I know. I just wanted to say this. Usually every single month, there's sort of kind of an elephant in the room for many, many people. Steve? In some cases, it's the rent. In some cases, it's the mortgage. And in some cases, it's their vehicle and their automobile expenses and upkeeping, transportation, if you will. There are ways, and there are ways that we can control that big old elephant in the room and try to shrink it up to at least a little toy elephant that we could look at and laugh at.
hmm yeah.
Really, really, Steve. I mean, in my own situation, when I've, had every time I've ever had an automobile in my life, in my family, we would always buy it outright. Okay. I'm
hmm
not saying it was necessarily brand new. Uh-uh. Talking about in a few times it was certified pre-owned, but we got good prices on it, paid for it outright.
All right.
We didn't want to have to face the big elephant in the room, and that's monthly car payments.
Payments. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think they're necessary. I think if we could always just be ready for that. What were you going to say, Steve?
I'm in the same ballpark as you. I do believe if you can just buy something outright. First off, no disrespect to people that can own a new vehicle. Keep in mind, do you really want a new vehicle? For those that do, I'm not trying to rain on your parade, but do realize something. I'll give you something for example to go by. If you ever lose a key on a new vehicle, do you realize how much it'll cost you to get that key replaced? In excess of $200 for the simple fact you have to have your car at the dealership. You will have to have your car programmed to that key so that the key functions will work. And it has to be put on a computer. And there's a little bit of a process to go through to get that key set up on these newer vehicles. I'm not certain as to what year that started. Now, keep in mind, I drive a 17-year-old Toyota Camry, and I can still go to a hardware store and pay 350 for a key like you could back in the old days because my key fob and my key to open the door are two separate entities. Everything now is built together. So I personally, because of that, is what shined me away from owning a newer vehicle. I have no problem owning a mid 2000s car. Quite frankly, if I really wanted a car, I like the older vehicles better. Even a 90s or an 80s, please, even if I could find a locate a 70s car. I do realize that once you go the further back you go, I do realize that parts availability does get harder, but keep it keep this in mind too. The consumer could still work on it.
That's right.
Now you have to be a contortionist to figure it out. Yeah, so
You're right, Steve. You're bringing up a very interesting point, and that is this, the newer, I'm not saying these newer models aren't beautiful. Heck, yes. I knew this was going to happen. Hang on 1 minute.
okay.
Sorry about that. Um, we have to be somewhat, I mean, if you really are computer savvy type thing, there is a bit of a learning curve, right, Steve, with the brand new stuff. And if
There
you're,
is.
yeah, if you're okay with that, bless your heart. I say let's dial it back to basics.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you for loving the mid 2000 stuff
Oh
because you
yeah,
got the best of both worlds. You got some pretty good running on those.
not only that, the body style Camry that I drive was popular between 2002 and 2006. I like it a lot. Matter of fact, it's one of the best. I think one of the best cars I've ever owned.
Yeah.
It's not a very high maintenance car. It does cost a little bit more to get repairs done on it, but once it's fixed, it's a done deal. And then I have peace of mind. So, but as far as maintenance and all that, not too bad. The one that I have, I've owned it since it was a year and a half old. I've had it since January of 2007. There's only been one other owner, and the owner only owned it a short time. So when we got it, just short of 17,000 miles, it was almost like buying a new car anyway. So,
That's
you
awesome.
know. Hmm.
That's really, really awesome. And also the way people handle the payments on anything. This case, we're discussing cars. If you anticipate that you want a car in your future and you're okay with a used or certified pre-owned,
Hmm.
what's the problem about starting your saving plan as much as possible as early as you can? It's
Nothing.
right. Because if we know, for example, we know that inevitably we're all going to use bathroom tissue at some point. Okay. Most of us. So we anticipate that we stock up and buy bathroom tissue. Cars for many people are their lifeblood, lifeline, getting them to work, getting the kids to school, going
Yep.
shopping. Some people don't have mass transportation.
No.
Every place is right. Every place is different. And some people are totally relying on their vehicle. So if like need a vehicle in your life, start saving, start planning as soon as possible. Here's another thing, Steve. Why do some people sometimes think that just because a vehicle is brand new, that means, well, you'll never have an automobile accident? Not true.
No. No, because keep in mind an accident is something that could happen without knowing it. Your car does not have to be a certain year to have a wreck. Most people don't realize here it is, what, 2022? We're going into 2023. You already have this year's cars in the junkyard. Most people don't realize that, you know. And these days, insurance companies are totaling out cars, left, right, left, right, left, right. So, but you have newer vehicles in the junkyard. Don't think that you don't. Um, but no, an accident does not have any particular year age on a vehicle. It doesn't matter. I mean,
And you could
I'll
be
tell
the
you,
best driver in the world. You could have been in the right. And out of your control, someone else has the issue, even
oh,
with your
here's one.
brand new perfect car. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Steve.
here's one. All right. Pull up in your driveway. You have a brand new car, even a 2020, 2021, 22, whatever, 1 or 2 years old. Accidents happen. A tree could fall on it. That's it. You're done. You're done. If a
That's
tree falls
true.
on a car, you're done.
True.
So an accident is unpredictable. You just don't know. We we hope and pray that we don't get into or have any, keep our fingers crossed, yes, but we can't control that,
Right. I laugh when people say,
so
well, the brand new car, the more expensive car is a safer car. I believe this. People could disagree with me, but it's just to me logical to think no matter what car I'm getting in, as long as it's decently maintained, there's 100% risk of someone else having a problem and getting you into that accident. And another thing about depreciation, what do we always say, Steve? The minute you drive your car off the lot, even if it's
you're
brand
going
new,
when you buy a new car, as soon as you sign your name, your John Hancock on that dotted line, and you're handed the keys, you jump in the front seat, you start it, put it in gear, and you drive off that lot. 30% of your value is out the window. Just like that.
right,
Immediately. That's why I don't like buying a new car.
right.
You want to buy a car? All right. Pick something that's 3 or 4 years old. That's already lost the top residual value. Not as bad. No, you still have just as good and as nice of a car as you would a new one. It's three
That's
or four
right.
years old. You really do. So that's why I don't like owning a new vehicle because of that depreciation. I mean, a $30,000 car, I mean, will go to like 20,000 or 19,000 as soon as you drive it off. I mean, I'm just using that as a guesstimate. I'm sure a car is a lot higher than that now. A lot of them are. I know that they are.
Right.
But no, money's too important to me to lose like that.
Absolutely.
But honestly, though, if you can just save up the money, we talk about saving all the time, you and I, that challenge, set money aside, set money aside. At some point, you keep adding, that money is going to amount to something.
You better believe
Oh,
it.
it will. And honestly, you're just better off buying outright. Boom, here's your money. Hand me my title. Thank you, sir. And it's a done deal, or ma'am, or whoever. So that's how I look at it. Another thing I might want to throw in, we were talking about this, you and I, before we got on camera. I don't believe in leasing a car. I don't like the leasing program. You don't realize something. You are renting a car for that period. You don't own the car. Oh, the way that title is done up, the title is not in your name. The registration and all that is in your name, yes. But if you ever have a chance to look at the title while you're leasing it, it's in the lease company's name, not yours.
Very interesting point.
So I think why do you really want to drive a car for 3 years? You know, and if you do want to have a car payment, not that there's anything wrong with having a payment, to me, if you can't pay off a car in 3 years, yes, I'm old school. My old school car payment method is like what you had back in the 60s and 70s and maybe a little bit in the 80s. If you cannot pay off a vehicle in 3 years, it's out of your affordability. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. And then there's the worst possible reason of all to go get the brand new shiny car, the latest model, keeping up with the Joneses. I don't think so. Because while you may be impressing someone else, are you impressing yourself when you're struggling and scratching your head every month going, where's this money coming from? And by the way, repossession is not exactly a pretty sight if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Oh, now that's okay. Repossession, that's a whole other subject within
Oh,
itself.
gee.
And guess what? Good old me happens to know exactly what it takes to cause that to happen. You want to have you want a repossession? Miss a couple payments and find out.
All right.
And that'll cost you 7 years at minimum.
My word.
Yeah, so don't do that. There's nothing wrong with a car payment, but make sure you can pay it within 3 years if you do.
Yeah, make it
Um,
livable.
right, make it within your affordability where it fits in your budget, where you don't have a problem. If you want to pay it off faster, add a little more money to it. I'll tell you a little secret. Take your payment, divide it by 12, whatever you get, add that to your payment each month. At the end of a year, you're making one extra payment.
Love it.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a car, a credit card, a house, whatever mortgage. You're going to cut down your term partially. You will cut down your term. Most people don't realize that, but you do. Yeah. So,
I mean, that's like one of the elephants in the room. I mean, today we're focusing on cars, but there are other elephants in the room. But this is something that is doable. You know what, Steve? Sometimes it's actually better for some people to not get a car because we also have to factor in, besides the incredible prices of fueling up the car, we have to consider those that have to pay for a parking lot space, like here in the city. To
mm,
me, that is its own rent. It's almost as high as an apartment unit rental.
oh,
Some of
wow.
the oh yeah, some of the monthly fees are horrendous, absolutely horrendous. It's not easy to keep a car in the city.
No, and then one thing people are not factoring in too is insurance itself. You have to have insurance on a car. Now, um, here's the thing. People think I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy me the most fully equipped car out there. Be careful how you equip your car. I'll tell you why. I had another Toyota Camry at one time. I had a 2003. Oh, it was nice. It had leather. It had a sunroof. And I thought, this won't cost me much more than my car. Wrong. It was almost double the payment, and I'll tell you why. Because they go by your VIN number. The way that the car is optioned, you're going to pay for that. So be careful what options you choose when you purchase a car, what package line you pick. I
Good
just thought I
point.
would throw
No,
that
no,
in.
no, no, no. That's
I
a
found that
good.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I found that out. Yeah.
And another thing, if you don't mind me bringing up, check it out with Carfax before you make any decision. If you have any questions on your purchase.
Yeah, if you go to Carfax, of course you're going to need a VIN number. That will tell you every last minute detail about that car, everything that has ever been done to it in its existence. Any repairs, if it's been in the shop, if it's been in an accident, when it made delivery at the dealership, how many miles was on the car when it got there. It'll tell you everything about that car. That's like that's like a medical record on a vehicle, to give you an idea. It
It is
tells you,
so worth it. It is so
yeah.
worth your little time and everything. It is just so worth it.
Hmm.
But be careful, plan ahead. If you have payments, keep them within your livable budget. Don't live
Yes.
beyond your means. Don't keep up with the Joneses for a vehicle, whatever you do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I don't want to be one of the Joneses. I was never one of the people. I was never the type that wanted to be one of the Joneses. I just wanted to be myself. That
Yeah.
was me. I'm just Steve. I don't want to be such the Joneses or the Rockefellers or the whoever's. No, I just want to be Steve Young. I just want to be me. I just want to be happy. That's
Right.
it.
That's
That's
excellent. That's excellent.
it.
One of my favorite cars that we had, wasn't glamorous, but it was a Ford Taurus. It was so spacey. It was so comfortable. We also, prior to that, we had a Hyundai. Then many,
Hmm.
many years ago, I had a pre-owned Mercedes. I know it sounds so funny, but we did. And
Oh,
can I tell
wow.
you something? Yeah, can I tell? It was a white 510 SE. It was really
Oh,
pretty.
that's a nice one. That's a nice one. No, I'm familiar with that one. That's a beautiful car.
It
Yeah.
really, really, it really, really was. However, can I tell you something? My most favorite comfortable one was the Ford Taurus. It did what it had to do. It got me where we had to go, and I was perfectly happy.
Yeah, the Ford Taurus is that's a decent yeah, that's a decent line car. I mean, the caliber of car. I would easily rate a Taurus. Eh, along the same lines of a Camry, give or take.
Yes.
I do know this, the Hyundai that you had, the Sonata, that's
Yes.
a step across from a Camry. That's Hyundai's version of a Camry. That I do know. But
I think the both of
yeah.
us had good choices in the cars.
Hmm.
Yourself and myself. That was good.
My aunt, I hope she doesn't mind me bringing this up, but she had a Ford Taurus. She had a 94 or 96, I can't remember, but she had a Taurus at one time, but she probably should have kept it, but she did not. She decided to, get rid of it and get something else. I think she wound up getting a Nissan Altima in turn for it, but um, you know, but no, you've had some nice cars. I've had some nice ones too.
Yes.
Again, that's a whole other subject within itself because I could be here. We could probably be here for another 10 minutes for 15 minutes yakking about the different cars I think, that I've had or, you know,
But the main
I
thing
will
is
s-
work with what you can work with. Go ahead, Steve.
I will say this, most people, this is not a brag, this is actually a true statement. Um, Most people when they go to take a driver's exam, most people drive a smaller size car to take a driver's exam in. You'll never guess what I drove to take my driver's exam. I drove my mom and dad's 1994 Lincoln Town Car. That's what I drove.
Oh,
I used so I drove a Yeah, so I drove a big car to take my driver's exam. I drove a
that's
full-size car.
amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and I passed the driving exam first time. No problem.
Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised.
No. So,
Oh, well,
all
this
right.
was a great subject, Steve. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, as always, I'm glad you could, hop aboard on, like I said, I wish my weather conditions, they're not, it's overcast. I mean, I know what's coming. It's not going to be any worse or any better than Hurricane Ian, but the only difference this time is I don't have to go to the grocery store. I've already went. I've got what I need.
Love when you're all prepared. That's a good thing.
Yeah, so I went and made a little special trip and went shopping at BJ's on Monday, so I have what I need. So I'm good,
That's
you know,
awesome.
to keep me afloat.
There
All
you go.
right. Well, I hope to see all of you back here on Recipe Tuesday. And yes, the recipe will air on a Tuesday. I do not know how my Recipe Tuesday got aired on a Monday. I'm telling you, I do realize I'm off a click or two, but I know I scheduled it to go on a Tuesday. I don't know what caused it. Doesn't matter, but it's up. It's a no bake pumpkin pie, but you don't have to use pumpkin pie. You can use cherry pie filling, apple, lemon, peach, strawberry, whatever flavor you want because it's a
That's
blank
so good.
canvas.
I,
Yeah,
I love when you can interchange it and swap it out and keep your, expense down. Everything adds up before we go. Don't think that things are so trivial. Every little thing adds up, and anything that you get to keep, you could put towards your car. You could put towards your future car or whatever other goal you might have in
you
mind.
can. Yeah, yeah, you can. No, because every little dime counts. The $1 a day, the $2 a day, $5 a day, whatever your finances will allow you to do. At some point, after say 12 months, 18 months, you are going to have an amount, a decent amount turn out of it.
That's right. Anybody that started the dollar a day 4.5 years ago, they're close to 14 or $1,500 in their pocket, effortlessly, painlessly.
See? Yeah, and if you do the $2 a day challenge, you're probably at about 3,000, maybe 3,200. Now, let me tell you, even at 3,000, 3,200, you can still buy a decent car, people.
That's it.
So, no, honestly, though, if you want to buy a car, if you can, try to build up the money and just buy it outright. if you have the ability. But if you have to go the car payment route, please, by all means, make sure you can pay it within 3 years or sooner.
And have an
Um,
emergency car for car repairs too on the side, even if it's $1,000.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Well, Jan, thank you for
Thanks
coming
for
aboard
having
today.
me. And thanks everybody
Yo,
for being
yeah, you're
here. We
welcome.
appreciate
Yeah,
you guys so much.
absolutely. Because, hey, without you guys, we have no need to be here. I'm sorry. That's the truth.
It's the
You
truth.
know, yeah. All right. So I'll see all of you on Recipe Tuesday on Tuesday. I'm certain of that. And and then Jan and I'll be back most likely next Saturday, you know. So I'll keep you guys posted as to how weather around me does, whether it's in the community tab or if I throw up a little video clip, something I'll let you guys know how I'm doing. So no worries on my part.
Keep safe, Steve.
I will. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Goodbye now.